What are some street smarts everyone should know? Street smarts to give your kids. If you get lost, find the closest adult with kids. I saw this in action once at Disneyland when a 4-year-old kid approached me and my kiddos while we were eating. She joined us very calmly, introduced herself, and said her parents gave her the above advice. I heard her parents shouting her name not long after, and the relief on their faces was a sight. There's actually some statistics behind things like this. Even if you ignore the adults with kids thing, the chances of the person you seek out wanting to do harm is very low. However, if you allow yourself to be picked out by someone, the chances that that person will do you harm increases. Simple reason is bad people go out their way to seek out the vulnerable. I don't know why this comment creeped me out so much, even though I'm safely in my home, and it's good advice. It's just creepy. If you are in any sort of confrontation and someone balls their fist and looks away for a second, or even just looks away for a second, you should be prepared for the possibility of a sucker punch. I just posted something similar. Good advice as well. The look away is the tell. You might be correct when you have the right of way, but you're still the one that's going to be dead when you get whacked by the car if you're walking or on your bike. My friend's dad always said, the cemetery is full of people who had the right of way. My dad said, never checked if it's true, that the rules of the road in the US never tell you who has the right of way. They only say for a given situation who is required to yield the right of way. So, he said, you should know when you can expect others to let you go, but don't assume they are actually letting you go because the book says so. Actually check that they are in fact yielding before you make your move. If a group of people suddenly get down, so do you. Dancing intensifies. Get down on it. If you're going to be away on holiday or somewhere you're unfamiliar with for any length of time, it's a good idea to try to always make sure that someone knows roughly where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing on a given day. Even if you're like me and you don't like to plan out a full itinerary, a rough indication of what your plans might be can help work out your movements if ever there is an issue. But don't post about being on holiday, even vacation photos, until you get back. No need to advertise you are gone and your home is possibly empty. And if a guy dressed as a cop comes by asking about your house's security and holiday plans, don't tell them you're going to Paris. Be aware of surroundings. Look like you belong either through body language, attire, or occupation, without being oblivious to things around you. The moment you look lost, out of place, or unsure is the moment you can look like a good target. If someone is looking at you with an expression questioning why you are there, be prepared to answer it with confidence and give an answer they would accept, or be prepared to leave before they can ask. Also be 3 feet tall, muscular, have shaved head and long beard. 3 feet. Never flash your whole wad of cash in a public place while paying for something. Keep a few bucks loose in one pocket for spending. Keep the majority of your cash in a separate pocket. Don't open a wallet full of all your money where other people can see you. You should always be afraid of secondary locations. I've heard this before. If someone mugs you, be compliant and give them your stuff. It's just stuff you can get more. If they try and take you somewhere else though, fight and scream and do anything to escape. Because they don't want your stuff. They want you. And that's not replaceable. I was told the same thing. Even if they're going to kill you, it's better to die there instead of being taken to another location. Because it could be much worse whatever they plan to do to you at the second location. And it'll be much harder to find them. Walk fast and look pissed off. Or, a fellow New Yorker. I was about to post the same thing. Instead of a resting bitch face, I call it the resting New Yorker face. Muggers and criminals often work in groups or pairs with one person trying to distract you. Edited to add, I think people tend to know this as it applies to being a tourist, but they forget it when traveling domestically or in their own city. Someone asking you for directions could have a partner in a car around the corner or across the street. Seen it and experienced it many times. I work in a liquor store and all the small bottles, small enough to fit in pockets, are kept on shelves behind the till. Thieves often come in 2 or 3s and one will come to the till. and ask me 20 questions about the minis to try and get me to turn around and take my eyes off the store floor so their buddies can seize an opportunity to stick a big bottle down their pants. So I have all the mini bottles and sizes and prices memorized. Lol, they get so frustrated. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Had a experience with this once. Two masked guys on bikes came up to me and my friends and asked if we wanted some free weed. They showed me something wrapped in tin foil. Immediately declined. Still wonder what their scam was. Always know where the exits are in any place that you enter so that you don't get lost in an emergency. Also, never place yourself in a hole in public where there is only one entrance and exit and no other people around. These are often crime hotspots. When we would rarely go out to eat as a family, my pops would only sit facing the door. I never thought anything of it until I was grown. I think it's something that anyone who has training in emergency or protection services do reflexively. For emergency services, you want to know if there's a fire how to get out, and if there's a medical emergency how to get the patient out / spine board in. For protection services, you're so used to being on alert that you can't relax if you don't have eyes on the entrance. You won't get mugged if you look like you're going to mug someone. That reminds me of a comedian. He was going about the scales of not getting mugged / fought, and he was like, act crazy. No one is going to try and fight a crazy person. Is that the guy who said nobody's going to mug him because he looks like Duck Dynasty and Game of Thrones had a baby? If the situation doesn't feel right, it's not right. Trust your spidey sense. One time I was meeting up with a guy to sell my car. We met up at a mall, so I felt pretty comfortable about the whole thing. He seemed a little off when we met though. I eventually let him take a test drive around the lot and he started to mention taking it for a test drive on the highway. I immediately said nah because he still seemed pretty off, but he kept insisting on taking it there. I had to legit throw the car into park and grab the keys out to keep him from going. The whole time he was saying it's okay, it'll be okay, and that just pissed me off even more. I drove the car back and he just tipped right when we got back without saying a word. That was when I knew I did the right thing. My heart was racing so fast the whole time. It still messes me up just thinking about it. Yeah, you did the right thing. That sounds 100% like he was planning on taking the car and not coming back XD. The fact that he left immediately after just shows that he had no other reason to be there besides to try and steal your car. That part for whatever reason really makes me pissed even more than the rest of the story. Having good manners and speaking with respect will keep you from getting in trouble you didn't know was there. Edit. Holy shit, did this blow up? I do appreciate all the awards from everyone. Raising my karma by 50%. Truly. From the response, it seems like those that have been in sketchy areas truly understand the importance of manners. It is nice to know there are some good people out there. My hat off to all of you. I wish you all the best. For all of those that do not understand, it is about respect, not only of the person you are speaking to but of yourself. I hope you understand one day. I wish this was higher up. When people talk about street smarts, they too often go to a place of defensiveness and mistrust. You can go a long way by being friendly and respectful. Obviously, you don't act the fool and blunder into a dangerous situation with a smile. But many street encounters start from a neutral interaction, just passing by people. You can turn a neutral interaction into a friendly one or a hostile one depending on how you approach it. I do this especially in my own neighborhood, which is not necessarily a crime-free one. If somebody is sitting on their steps when I walk by and we make eye contact, I usually give a quick smile and say hi as I'm walking past. Almost always, they will say hi in return. They don't know me and I don't know them, but now we've said hi to each other, so the relationship has changed in a slightly positive way. We may see each other again, since we live within a few miles of each other, and now our relationship has just a few points in the friend category. It can make a difference. Also, a simple my bad can go a long way in turning a hostile encounter into a neutral encounter. Just put your pride down and don't give this unhinged person any reason to continue to be hostile and possibly violent towards you. When it comes to knife fights, the loser dies in the street, the winner dies in the hospital. First rule of knife fighting, you're gonna get cut. And not just like cool cut the way they show in movies. Tendons severed, veins, arteries. Chances are you'll be fucked up for life afterwards. If somebody asks you your name, have a fake generic name and use it all the time. Mike, Dave, and John will do. I use Arthur Curry. Not joking. I'm secretly Aquaman. Totally joking. I'm Tyrone Skinnerdip on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And every other day I'm Chad Jackson. Only break one law at a time. Except solicitation of prostitution and illegal drug use. Fear the PB&J of crimes. Drive it like you stole it. Apostrophe. So very carefully. Abiding by all traffic laws. To reduce the risk of being pulled over? Yes, exactly. Here are a few of street smarts that makes it harder for pickpockets to steal your stuff. Do not keep your wallet in the back pocket of your jeans. This is a super easy place for pickpocket to take it from. When in crowded touristy areas, it sometimes is better to wear your backpacks or purses to the front of your body. If you sit down in a restaurant, keep your backpack in front of your feet. Be especially aware of your belongings when there is a bit of pushing, like when entering a subway or metro wagon. Be alert in situations where a potential group of thieves try to distract you, for example, by asking you for directions on a map. While you are distracted, by showing the person the directions, another thief will open your bags and take your stuff without noticing. Edit. Another thing to look out are people in European cities asking for cash donations for the blind, deaf or handicapped. The huge majority of them are not for real charities but just to A, get some money from me, and B, more importantly for an accomplice, to see where you store your wallet. When traveling in Europe, I'm most comfortable keeping my phone and ID in an interior pocket of my coat, which is zipped up. Just don't leave your coat over the back of a chair in a restaurant like I did, and then walk 5 blocks across Florence. Luckily it was still there when I went back, and I didn't leave anything in the pockets, lol. Never post vacation information on social media until you're back. You'll most certainly get robbed at some point if you're not smart about it. Also, don't put expensive product boxes, TV, computer, appliances outside before trash day. People will see your new toys. Or alternatively, start posting from vacation photos once you get back and prepare a Home Alone reenactment with whoever shows up. Then you can rob the robbers and pay off your vacation. Do not trust taxi drivers if you are a tourist. I'm not a tourist, and I still don't trust taxi drivers. Right. My roomie and I were leaving the pub once, and the cabbie assumed because she was very drunk I must be too. Now, he started taking a very scenic route to our apartment, and I asked him WTF he was doing. Get back on the main route or let us out. He was like, oh sorry, wrong turn. MF tryna take advantage of drunk PR for Mormon. Shitty for him. I'm a big tipper. He got nada. Damn. Adults do not ask children for help. I knew this, but I also never realized it before. Like I was always told when I was a kid that I shouldn't talk to strangers. But only now am I realizing that there actually isn't a legitimate reason that person might actually need directions or whatever. As a kid I worried it'd be rude if I had to reject them, but I'd have to do it anyway. When I was 7 years old, my friend and I were playing in her front yard. 2 old men pulled up and asked us where some street was. Her dad wasn't far, working in the garage. I was told not to talk to strangers and ran away. She started walking towards the car. Her dad walked up to the car and talked to the men. I don't know if they intended any harm, because it was the middle of day and they'd easily be able to see my friend's dad, and there were other people out in the neighborhood. So it wasn't like we were secluded. But it was odd because why would we know where that street was? Pay attention when you cross the street on foot. No matter who has the right of way, the vehicle will destroy you, lightly or heavily. Thanks. My dad had an expression about right of way in traffic. You might have right of way, but end up dead right. My driving teacher told me this. Assume everyone in traffic is an absolute idiot. Apostrophe. Wear shoes you can run the duck away in. I 100% do this everywhere. Like Mel Gibson said, he who fights and runs away lives to run away another day. If a stranger talks to you in public, and it's not immediately clear why they are talking to you, ignore them. Just keep minding your own business. Don't look at them, and don't say a word. Most hustles start as just a friendly chat. This should be higher up. Trust that the man literally climbing out of the bushes by the parking lot doesn't need you to tell him the time. He's just using politeness to get close enough. Eye contact. A lone assailant will often use the element of surprise to their advantage. If you're walking alone and someone is following you, make eye contact to let them know that you are aware of them. This will often dissuade them from attacking. This tactic has worked for me in the past. I was walking down the street at 3 AM in a bad neighborhood. Don't ask why. Heard someone behind me, so I turned around and confronted him. I didn't act scared or hostile. Just something like, hey man, what's going on? The guy was thrown off guard. Said he was mistaken and walked away. Pretty sure I was about to get mugged. Could tell he had a gun in the waistband of his pants. That's terrifying. But smart of you to strike up a conversation. When you exude confidence, you become less of an easy target. If you're driving and hit black ice, just take foot off gas, but don't brake until the slide stops. This is great advice. Generally speaking, brakes are not your friend. If there is any situation where grip is limited, braking will often cause the car to become unbalanced and often contribute to a crash. Be aware of your surroundings and trust your gut. Women should not be afraid to appear rude. The book Gift of Fear has lots of great info. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.